What is going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. This is going to be the fourth video for the educational channels, and I'm going to be introducing a Ichimoku strategy to you guys. Now we're going to be starting off on a blank chart and going from there. I know there's a lot of you guys that are new that want to set up your charts exactly like I do, so I'm going to be showing you that. Although if you are actually new, I would recommend you don't use this strategy just yet, but it is good to actually watch this video so you can open your eyes to different methods and of trading and scalping these small moves on Bitcoin, and sometimes even big moves. So it's a very interesting video in my opinion. And for full disclaimer, I actually didn't basically learn the strategy myself or pick up this method myself. It was A11 crypto stud that actually saw this strategy somewhere and has shared it with me in the past, and we basically learned it from there. And it was a very nice strategy for scalping, especially when it's volatile, guys. When the market is moving, it is a very nice strategy. So I hope that you guys enjoy this video. It is going to be a little bit on the longer side. I did notice that some of you guys didn't watch the moving averages video. Remember that these videos actually take a very long time to make, and they do take a little bit of an effort to make. So I actually want you guys to be watching this. I'm making these videos for you guys so you can actually learn something, okay? So it would be very good if you can go ahead and watch it, spend some time on yourself, and that's it. You're gonna reap the benefits in the later on in life, guys. Like, you can't always be waiting on someone else to make trades for you guys or to give you guys a little bit of it. Obviously, a little bit of a direction is always good at the start, but you need to start making your own decisions on your trades, and you need to start picking up these strategies and start opening your eyes to these different methods and ways of trading. So we're starting off on a 1 hour time frame right now. We're actually not really going to care about the time frame just yet. Someone was asking me this yesterday. So this is how I set up my charts. When you get a blank chart, it's going to look like this. If you want to set up your charts exactly like I do, I usually go on basically right click, go onto your settings, and then go onto your background. Change your background to black if you want, or any background that you want. You can really put it to yellow if you want, or any color, and come down here. If you don't want the grid lines, you can just put them as black as well. If you want your grid lines like this, you would be able to do that as well if you want them as dashed lines. Basically anything that you want. Is very flexible here. TradingView is very good. If you guys don't have TradingView, go ahead and check it out. It's very good. You guys should use TradingView. Don't use an exchange for your charting. It's good to just get used to using TradingView from the start. So then you can either put the watermark on as well. So the watermark is in the back. It tells you what the coin is, what time frame, and everything else. And I usually do turn that off, but for my videos, I've started turning it on. For this video, we'll actually turn it off here. So, and you can change your crosshairs to, let's say, whatever you want, and very flexible, as I'm saying. So you can change really anything you want. So that's basically how I set up my chart, and I always have a black background because I believe that it's easier to see. Some people like using the white background, right? So that's all that we need to say about that. Let's go ahead and do that. So firstly, we're going to be adding the Ichimoku on our from our indicators. So go to the top here and add Ichimoku, right? And remember, this is a scalping strategy. Let me record. Let me see if I'm recording. Okay, perfect. And Ichimoku, that's what you're going to be adding right there, Ichimoku Cloud. Now, the Ichimoku Cloud, you're going to be changing a few things here. This is what A11 basically showed me, and this is what I always change it to from the start for this method. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways to use Ichimoku, but this is how we're going to be doing it and how we're going to be setting it up in today's video. Now, the conversion line, we're going to make it pink, right? So let's go ahead and make it a pink, a light pink here. The baseline, we're going to be doing, let's actually make it a little bit thicker here. So we're going to put it on there. The baseline, we're going to make, let's see, blue, right? So these are all what A11 told me. I'm pretty sure he actually saw this method off a YouTube video a while ago as well. So very interesting. And the yellow, we're going to put that as yellow. And we're going to make that thick as well. So we're going to make that a little bit thicker like that, and we've already done that. And then the lead, you're going to put it as, let's see, you're going to put it as a little bit of a lighter color, right? So you're going to make this about 50%. And then here, you're going to actually make this about 50% as well, I believe. Okay, so you're going to go down here and you're actually gonna, let's see, you're gonna make this about 20%, so you guys can actually manually put it in as well and make that a little bit thicker so you can see it better, because the clouds are actually going to be one of the main parts of this strategy that we're going to be taking a look at. Now for your inputs, okay, so for your inputs, I don't think we need to change anything here, do we? I don't believe that you do. Okay, so your inputs stay the same, but there is something to note. This is inputs, I think, for normal markets. Okay, so normal markets will have these inputs, and usually when you're trading on crypto, some people will tell you why you're using these inputs, let's say, right? Because crypto is 24 hours, so maybe some people will like to change it, but for this method we don't change it. We leave it as it is for the traditional markets, for, let's say, New York Stock Exchange. So just leave it as this, right? So this is what you're going to have. It's going to look maybe a little bit confusing at the start, but trust me, it is actually pretty simple once we get into it. I actually did this and made a video on this for about 2 or 3 hours. We made a live stream on this a while ago, but I want to redo this video for you guys that are new to the group, and for you guys that don't want to sit through that stream. It's just going to be straight to the point, and you're going to be able to watch this. So let's see, we're going to go down here, and we're going to go to our indicators again and add from my favorites. Actually, I won't go on my favorites. Type in Super Waves Pro. So one of my old friends that has actually stopped trading a little bit made this indicator. Very, very nice indicator, free indicator. If you guys know about Market Cypher, it's basically a Market Cypher but for free. And as you guys know, Market Cypher is completely basically copied off Lazy Bear's indicator. Obviously they've added some stuff to it as well, and he's marketed it very, very well, but you can just use the free version right here. This is one of the best free versions that I've seen personally, and you have the triple stochastics, you have everything here, guys, and you can basically change it up if you want as well. So Super Waves Pro is what you're going to be typing in the indicator section. So this, in case you missed it, the top right here, 82 likes, and you guys can add it as your favorite indicator by going over here and clicking this star button. You add the indicators to your favorites, and it is good to do that because they will always stay there. Okay, now you go on on here, and you actually do, let's see, taking a few notes here, so I don't really want to I don't know why I'm doing that. I don't really want to give you guys anything wrong, so I'm going to add that as my favorite as well. So this one is called the Vortex indicator, and it's going to be right at the top for you guys. Okay, so the Vortex indicator is going to look like this. You're going to have your Super Waves Pro. You can really swap them around, do whatever you want, whatever looks easier to you. You can leave them at the top, or you can leave this at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to make these a little bit smaller here, looking good there. Now we're going to change the input to this. Okay, so you're going to change the inputs to let's see, you're going to change the input to 21. Okay, so the 14 is good, but only if you're trading the higher time frames. For us that we're scalping the lower time frames, it's going to be good to put it on 21. I remember A11 was actually saying that you should definitely do this because lower time frames, 21 is going to work the best, right? And the Vortex is basically your trigger, right? Your trigger to the upside. It's going to be your trigger to enter a trade, okay? So now that we've added all of these, I'm going to quickly explain exactly what they are, but give me a second here. Okay, so obviously your red is going to be, maybe we even do change it to those colors, or I think we do actually leave it. So you've got your plus and you've got your negative, right? So just think of it like that, your plus and your negative. So your obviously plus is going to be green and to the upside, obviously green going to the upside and red going to the downside. But this is going to work differently, okay? So this is going to work like this. So let's actually find a good example. Give me a second. So a great example right here. When the VIX plus, which is the blue, crossed to the upside, that's when you saw this trigger and go to the upside, and then your negative actually crossed down, right? So these crossovers are going to be very, very important for your entries and exits as well. Okay, so what do you see right here? You see an absolutely beautiful cross. We're basically on support here. You can see that we are on support. So go ahead and watch the support and resistance videos as well. We're on support here, and the VIX started crossing to the upside, and and then we started moving up, right? So this would have been one of the triggers that would have helped you or told you that, okay, we may be moving to the upside here. Now we'll talk about the Ichimoku strategy as well, but firstly, we're going to explain every indicator here. Now you've crossed the upside. Then you come down here and you look, okay, so my this bar down here has actually gone green as well. Okay, so this bar has gone green, so that's more confirmation that we may be having some positive movement coming to the upside. You also go down here, what do you see? You see your money flow index, which is right here. Your money flow index goes from red, starts curving back in, and goes from red to green and starts expanding in the green. And that's exactly on this candle where it goes into green, but it starts curving back in right here from these candles all the way up. Okay, so you've got these this cross, you've got your VWAP that's already to the upside, so you can put this VWAP as a line actually as well, which will be very, very simple, which will be easier to see. Sorry, let's see, your standard, let's see, line. Okay, so you change that to a line, and now it's a line. Perfect. So VWAP crossing to the upside back here. So that's more confirmation for you. We got a little fake out here. So maybe you say, okay, we got a fake out. Even though we crossed the downside, we got a fake out. So maybe we do get this move up. And then you actually look at your momentum going to the upside on the waves as well. VWAP already up, money flow going in, and you see green come up here as well. And you're going to be looking for periods, you're going to be looking for crosses that are actually expanding, just like our moving averages video. You want them to be expanding. You want them to be big here. You don't want them to be like really, really sideways, choppy action like we had over here. You actually want them to start expanding. And then this slope is going to give you, just like the moving averages that we're looking at, this slope is going to give you direction and it's going to give you momentum, right? So go in the middle, about 1 on the on here and on the vortex indicator, and put a line there. So you can put a trend line by going over here, right? Horizontal line right in the middle at 1, or you can do Alt H if you're on PC, okay? I don't know what the thing on Mac is, but you can do that, okay? So that's when it crosses. That's going to be your trigger. Right in the middle, it crosses to the upside and it starts expanding. Okay, so you need this line in the middle as well. Now you can put this line as a dotted line as well. Let's see. You can put this line as a dotted line so it's a little bit easier to see, right? So that's going to be a trigger. You went to the upside here, starting to expand. You're going to ignore areas like this where it's choppy sideways action. You want them to expand, and the sloping of this, when it gets to the upside, when it gets to these really, really hot levels, just like when you see the stochastics get to these hot levels, they don't stay here for too long, right? It will eventually cross back to the downside, and that's when you will think of taking profit. Okay, so I want you guys to know that is when you will think of taking profit. So you actually just got in, let's say you got in a long. This is not the strategy just yet, but you can use this vortex indicator as well. Vortex indicator is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so you're using this vortex indicator and you've actually crossed the upside. These are starting to expand, which shows that the trend is getting stronger to the upside as well. Now we're on the 1 hour time frame. You get to this hot area, and your price action also gets to this hot area as well. It goes sideways for a little bit, and it can't maintain up here and rolls back over to the downside. So you would have basically caught this trade all the way to the upside for about 5.3%, okay? And then it came to the downside. So absolutely beautiful look there. Then we come down here. Now, what would happen if it's actually bearish? Now, bearish, you would think that it's going down, but it doesn't really go down because they're crossing each other, right? So even when this red crosses to the upside, and you do see some choppy action over here, but then you see us lose support up here, so that may be a trigger as well. Then you see these start to expand and they go over the one line pretty nice, the one line being in the middle here, and they start to expand. And this is when you would have gotten in your short, okay? Even down here when you saw them starting to expand, right? Let's say you got down here, you didn't get the actual cross, but when you saw the vortex indicator start to expand, the red or the pink and the blue start to expand, and you saw us starting to lose support, that would have been your trigger to say, okay, we might be dropping. I won't even get it from the top, but let's say you didn't even get it from the top, all the way to the downside, 6.3%. And remember, you're going to be leveraging these positions. Leverage is very, very risky. So if you're new, do not be leveraging, but you're going to be, let's say on 5 times, let's say on 10 times, 60%, right? Okay, so that's what you're going to be looking at. You're going to be looking at these cross the upside. What do you also see? You see us fake out on the money flow index. The money flow index turns into green and then fakes back out and comes into the red, starts expanding very, very big into the red. So right here, we went up into the money flow index, which was actually green, right? But then it dipped back, gave us a fake out. So that was a sign for you to say, okay, we just got a fake out straight away. As soon as we went to the green on the money flow index, we went and got a fake out. Okay, so that would be like, okay, I'm probably gonna exit. Obviously you wouldn't have long, but I'm probably gonna be thinking of a short here. My VWAP actually crossed to the downside as well as soon as my money flow index went into the red. So that was actually on this candle right here. So that would have been your starting trigger to say, okay, I might be thinking of a short right here. What's my vortex going to do? Now that my money flow index has turned into red, my VWAP has crossed to the downside, what's my vortex going to do? My vortex is going to start to cross to the cross bearish as well, because we've got a bearish cross right here and they're starting to expand. Okay, so very, very nice. I'm hoping that you guys actually see exactly what we're looking at here, and it's starting to make a little bit of sense, right? Let me see. Okay, that wasn't loading properly. That confused me for a second. Now we're going to look at some examples, but you also want to look and you also want to be aware, just like your horizontals, just like certain things that we have looked at in the group. When you see the Ichimoku cloud be like this, you want to see it. Obviously, when we're going sideways, this is very, very choppy action. I usually ignore these areas. And remember guys, you need to stay very, very patient with your trades. I don't know if you guys have been in any other groups, but they will have a baseless call group where they just post calls for you every single day. Most of them will get stopped out. You will not know why you're entering that trade. You will not have a proper clear view of the market or the charts, right? And over the long period of time, and even over the first few weeks of you being there, you will get absolutely wrecked. And so this is why I'm staying very patient right now, because we're having sideways action like this, and we'll be able to get some good trades, and I'll be able to show some good examples to you guys even from this sideways action. There will be some nice examples on the lower time frames, but if I want to stay patient, I will stay patient with my trades. Now in the past few months, we've been very aggressive with our trades. The market's actually been very, very clear to me, and I wanted to make a lot of trades, so I've made a lot of trades, but now I'm staying very patient. So that's exactly what I want you guys to do as well. The biggest thing that you guys will hopefully take away from this group is to stay patient. If you guys go back onto the call recaps, for example, there is a lot of big trades that we've made, right? If you actually get the right, and if you actually get to a point where you have a working strategy, how many 30 to 40 to 50, 60, 100% trades a year do you need to make a living? Not many, guys. You only need, let's say, one even, okay? When you have a big account, let's say 100 grand account, 500 grand account, and with that 500 grand account, you use 250,000 in a trade, for example. Never use half of your account, but just an example. Once you do that, how many 100% trades in one trade do you need to make a living? And I know I've said this before, but I just want to explain my point. And my point is that you need to stay very patient. Once you actually start learning these strategies, you will get to a point where you can make these big trades, and you will actually get to a point where you're going to be comfortable putting these positions on. You won't be scared. You won't be scared out of your trades. You won't be scared of what am I doing, what's going to happen, why am I entering this trade, all right? So, and if you don't want to be patient, I actually do recommend you guys go to another group. I recommend you guys actually study these videos and study them back to back, guys, okay? And especially the other videos that I've uploaded as well. So this is completely different. This is a completely different strategy. It's just for you guys to test the waters and to see what you guys actually like. So the first thing, especially with this strategy, is to stay very patient. And you guys will see why I'm saying this in a little bit here. But I want to make this very, very clear, guys. You have to be patient with this strategy, and with any strategy for that matter. And you have to be very, very smart. You also have to wait for the trades to come to you. You have to wait for the setup to actually happen before you enter a trade. Just like the strategies that I've shown you guys personally, my personal strategies, right? And this is something A11 has shown me. But my personal strategies, what is with those strategies? You always have to wait for the right trade. You always have to have a good stop loss, and you will not always be right. Okay, so I just want you guys to know that. Be very, very careful with this. and just recognize that. Okay, now let's go through some choppy action where you wouldn't actually enter a trade, right? So I'm looking at this price action go sideways here. Obviously Ichimoku cloud, it's like kind of just going inside the Ichimoku cloud. Now we'll get into the Ichimoku in a second, but we're moving inside of it. This is not something you want to see, right? But when you get these openings in the Ichimoku cloud, you will actually it will actually be easy to pop through it, right? So it won't be as much resistance there. It's not as thick. So it will be easier for the bulls to take it to the upside right here, because you got this opening. You see this opening right here? You see this opening on the Ichimoku cloud? Very, very nice, and take it to the upside, okay? So that's what you're going to be looking for. And you see this opening right here, right? And you also see your money flow index go to the upside. You also see your stochastics moving to the upside. You see your vortex actually cross the upside as well. And you see how the vortex doesn't really get to these hot levels here, right? It starts to get to these hot levels, dips a little bit, goes to the upside. But really, that was like in this area and then in this area, but you do get a little bit more out of it. But that little bit more, is it worth risking, right? Is it worth risking and waiting for this to dip down and being like, okay, I'm going to get greedy here and I'm not going to exit my trade. I'm not going to take my profits. You're not going to do that. You're basically just going to take your profits here. So you take your profits here. And if it does go up, if the momentum does go up and you go up a little bit more on the price action, it doesn't really matter, right? So this is actually going to be the first example that we use as well here. Now, let's get into the strategy. And I do want to start this off. I think I might write it on a Word document for you guys. And that's what Chad actually sent it to me on my laptop. So I've got it on my laptop right now. And then I'm just going to put it down here. We're going to go through longing first. Now, obviously, this is where the Ichimoku cloud is going to come into action as well. So for longing, you guys can take screenshots of this after we're done. Take screenshots of this page. So you've got basically for longing, you want your price action to be above the Kumo cloud, right? So price action above Kumo cloud. Let's do dot points here as well, so it's very, very clear. You want your price action to be above the Kumo cloud. So is the price action above the Kumo cloud? Yes, it is. We go over here. Once again, you want your Kinko span line to be above your Kumo cloud. Okay, the Kinko span line above Kumo cloud. Okay, it has to be. So these things that I'm telling you guys, they have to be met, or else you will not get in a trade. This is why patience is key in trading. If you're not patient, if you don't wait for the right setups, you will get absolutely wrecked. You will not be in the market for long. This is why people do not stay in the market for long. Patience. It doesn't matter how much technical analysis you know. It doesn't matter how good you are at technical analysis. You will get absolutely wrecked if you are not patient with your trades. Okay. So every single thing that I'm writing here, you have to do and you have to wait for. Okay. And I'll show you guys exactly why. So the Kinko span line has to be above the Kumo cloud. Now, what is the Kinko span line? The Kinko span line is the yellow line that we have here. If we go over here, the lagging span, the yellow line that I put is the Kinko span line. Now, the Kinko span line must be above the Kumo cloud. Now, is it above the Kumo cloud? It is above the Kumo cloud. It's basically, it went above the Kumo cloud here, right? Now let's go over here and we'll write something else. So your Kumo cloud, if you want to enter a long, Kumo cloud has to be green, okay? So that's what it has to be. The Kumo cloud has to be green here. So is the Kumo cloud green here? Well, when you actually get above it here, it is green. And this is a little bit of a risky one, but I would actually enter on this and I'll show you guys why. But let's finish exactly what I want to explain here, or what we have to write here. So the Kumo cloud has to be green. And then your conversion line, right? Your conversion line has to be above the baseline, okay? Baseline, which is, so let's actually write the conversion line, right? The conversion line is a pink line, okay? So let's actually do pink has to be above the baseline blue, right? And let's actually put these into blue and pink for you guys. So when you do take a screenshot, it's easier to actually know exactly what we're talking about. So blue and pink, right? I didn't actually know what else to do this on other than words, so we're going to be just typing it here. I hope that it's very, very clear. It will end up falling into place right at the end, guys. So I hope you do enjoy it. Let's get a pink right here. Conversion line, pink. So your conversion line is pink, has to be above the baseline blue. Now what's happening here? Would you long this right here? Well, the conversion line, which is the pink line, has to be above your baseline blue, right? So your baseline being right here and your conversion line pink being right here. Now, is it above? Is your conversion line pink above? Yes, it is, above your baseline blue. Now let's go on to the next one. What's the next thing you have to have for longing? Your price has to be above. Okay, so let's actually put this into black again. Price has to be above the baseline. And what's the baseline? The baseline is the blue line that we were just looking at. Okay, so price action has to be, let's actually put price action has to be above the baseline blue. Okay, so your price action, which is the green candles right here, or the candles right here, has to be above the baseline, which is your blue right here. Okay, so let's go through them again. All right, let's go through these again, and let's actually do this so we can get them up together. I'm gonna minimize this a little bit, right? Minimizing this right here, put it on the left a little bit. So what are we looking for? For longing, you have to, in every single situation where you are longing, okay, you will have to have the price action above your Kumo cloud. Is your price action above the Kumo cloud? Yes, it is. The Kinko span line, okay, being the yellow line that we have on our charts, has to be above the Kumo cloud, right? The Kumo cloud has to be green. Is the Kumo cloud green? Okay, well, we will use a better example, and we will look at a better example, because this is a little bit of a dodgy one, because it was green right here. So I guess you could enter on this candle, but it turned into red a little bit. But you wouldn't have obviously seen this, right? So you would have entered anyway on this area, right? On this candle right here, that would have been your confirmation, and you would have actually entered on that area. So that would have been a very nice play, right? So let's actually go through it again. I want to price action above the Kumo cloud. It is above the Kumo cloud. The Kinko span line being the yellow line above the Kumo cloud. The Kumo cloud has to be green, which it is. The conversion line pink has to be above the baseline blue. The conversion line pink, which is right, this one, kind of supporting the price action or right under the price action, has to be above the baseline, which is the blue line. The blue line right here. So that's called the baseline. You will get used to these as we talk about it. And the price action has to be above the baseline blue. Okay, so price action being above the baseline blue. So like right down here, you wouldn't get in because we're below the Kumo cloud, and you know it just doesn't line up, right? We're below the baseline. We're below the Kumo cloud. You would never get into a long position with this strategy in this area. So I hope you guys are understanding that a little bit. Now let's go ahead and find some more examples. Okay. Now this should be a pretty nice example here. Okay. So let's go and get this back up, and let's pull this back a little bit here. Now, actually, before we do finish off with this, now let's say you entered here, right? You would have also looked at your vortex. Sorry, you would have looked at your vortex as well. You would have seen that before the Kumo cloud actually confirmed, you actually had a bullish cross on the vortex. You got this bullish cross on the vortex. They started to expand a little bit. They looked a little bit dodgy. So you waited for your price action to be above the Kumo cloud, and then they started to expand. So they started to expand, and they were holding above the one line. So the blue started to get bigger and bigger, or move to the upside as the price action was going up. So this was really good. You got your confirmation for the Kumo cloud strategy for everything I showed you guys right here, right? You got your confirmation on this candle for everything to do with the Kumo cloud, to do with the Kinko span line, with everything, right? You also saw that you already had a cross here, which gave you more confidence in that trade. Down here, you see us go from red to green, and our money flow index starts to expand, okay? Expand into the green. More confirmation for you to stay in this trade, right? Now, when you may ask yourself, when do I exit this trade? When can I exit? You always may get greedy, but this is why you shouldn't get greedy, right? It's because this is already a 8.6% trade. Let's say it's an 8% trade. Let's say you were on 10 times leverage, which I don't recommend using. Use 5 times max if you're a beginner, or 3 times max if you're a beginner. That's 80%, right? So all the way up, And then you would see, what did I say at the start of the video? You would see that your vortex is starting to get to some hot areas. It's starting to get to that 1.2 area, to that 1.1 to that 1.1 to 1.2 area, which is a very, very hot area for the price action, right? So you would have taken your profits right here. And you would have taken your profits just like we said over here. And maybe you got another push, right? You maybe would have been able to stay in for a little bit longer actually, right? And then actually rode it for a little bit longer. But I would have taken my profits right here. Now, why would I have taken my profits? Because the Kumo cloud below us was actually turning into red, right? And once it turns into red, it's a little bit bad because, as I said, you want it to be green, right? And also the fact that it's not expanded at all, or it's not a big Kumo cloud here, so there wouldn't be support anyway. For your Kumo clouds, you want to see something like this, not something like this. As I said before, once you see something like this, it's very easy that you push to the upside. It's very easy that you break it, sorry. So right here, I would have said, okay, I'm just going to get out of the trade. I would have taken my 5 to 6% and been happy with that, right? Because your vortex was getting to hot areas. You were seeing red dots on the waves, on the momentum waves. You were seeing your stochastics get to some hot areas as well. And usually your stochastics don't stay there for too long either. So let's go ahead and use another example here. Now, I hope that you guys are understanding this. I hope I'm being clear. This is a very nice strategy, but for the guys that are beginners, learn your simple strategy first. This is actually pretty simple as well, guys. If you're not greedy, if you wait for the right setups, this is a very, very simple strategy that I'm actually happy that I'm introducing to you guys. So let's speed this up a little bit right now, okay? Because we want to get to the shorting as well. Let me have a sip of this water. Okay, so let's find another example here. So I think we're going to use this as an example because this is a choppy area that you may have gotten chopped up in. So let's look at why, let's look at if this would basically fall under our longing, right? So you see the price action going sideways here or going above the, so for example, somewhere like this, you wouldn't get into a short or a long position because why? Because even though some things or most things actually tick off, it's a red cloud, so you would never get in. So you would come over here and you see us dip under the green cloud, but then we ultimately come back to the upside. We're above the Kumo cloud now. We're above the green Kumo cloud, okay? So the price action is above the Kumo cloud right here. The Kinko span line is above the Kumo cloud, right? The Kinko span line being the yellow line is above the Kumo cloud. The Kumo cloud has to be green, which it is right here. The conversion line, pink, right? The conversion line is the pink line. Above must be and has to be above the blue conversion line or the blue baseline. So blue baseline, it actually goes above right here, right? So you wouldn't get in right here. You would actually wait very patiently until you saw fully confirmed price action. So about here, you would actually get into your long position, right? And your next thing is price action has to be above the baseline, which is the blue. So for example, you would never get in here. Things don't basically go off. But right here, price action above the Kumo cloud, Kinko span line above the Kumo cloud, right? Kinko span line above the Kumo cloud. Kumo cloud has to be green, which it is right here. And it is actually expanded as well. So there is some nice support until it gets to here, right? And you would get in your short or your long position right here. And you would have taken it to the upside for some nice gains, okay? For about an 11% gain on that wick, right? But when would you have taken profits here, okay? So remember, this is a scalping strategy. And you wouldn't even really use it on the 1 hour time. You can, you just find what time frame is best for you. So you can go onto the 15 minute time frame. We'll go on those and I'll show you guys one example on that as well. Okay, so I think we used to use the 5 to 15 minute as well. So right here, you would have gotten in your long position. Now, you would have also looked at your other indicators to give you some clarity, right? So you've already crossed bullish right here. Back here, you crossed bullish. So you would have looked and you would have been like, okay, I'm actually setting up for a nice long right here. The price action is setting up for a nice long. I'm going to stay patient. Why? Because we've got a bullish cross. So it's setting up for a long. The vortex has given us a bullish cross and starting to expand. The money flow index, a little bit before the vortex gave us a bullish cross, gave us a cross back into the green money flow index, and the money flow index started to expand. And before the money flow index even went into the bullish control territory, we got a bullish cross on the VWAP, which is the yellow line right here. You also see your momentum going to the upside on the waves with your green dot. You also see down here, this baseline right here, you also see this as green. So everything's setting up for a long here. Buyers are in control, or buyers are coming in on the lower time frames. So you may be able to get this scalp. Now, this won't always work perfectly, but you can see how you can use confluence with these methods, right? You also see some nice volume coming in. Not too much, but you do see some nice volume coming in. So this may get some continuation after it dies down a little bit, goes sideways a little bit, then you see this big volume spike once again. Okay, so very interesting stuff. I hope you guys are understanding this well, and I hope that you guys are enjoying this video. This is a little bit of a longer one. I still have to make a YouTube video for the public as well, so let's get through this and let's take a look at shorting. I need to take another sip of the water, and then we'll continue on to shorting, because the shorting is obviously going to be the exact opposite of this. So I'll write it down for you guys as well. And you guys can go ahead and let me get this up. You guys can go ahead and actually take a screenshot of this, right? And I can even send you guys this if you need, and if you don't know how to take a screenshot. So let's write the shorting. Okay, so for shorting, and remember, I will say it again, I will say it once more. In any type of trading, you have to stay patient. You have to wait for your indicators, and you have to use your brain as well, guys. Okay, you have to wait for the right chance to make the trade. Okay. Never be stupid with your trades. Never not use a stop loss. Never think that it's going to 100% go your way. These are not 100% probabilities. Trading is about probabilities and about what works the best, okay? And what will give you the best probabilities, okay? So be patient, wait for the trade to actually come to you. Now, what do we need for shorting? Okay, let's go into full screen right here. For shorting, we need our indicators, or we need our basically price action, right? Price action below the Kumo cloud, okay? The second thing you need is the Kinko span line, okay? Kinko span line that we wrote above must be below, okay? Below Kumo cloud. So right here, we're basically doing the exact opposites, as you can see. So the Kinko span line below the Kumo cloud. The Kumo cloud has to be, what does it have to be if you're shorting? Has to be red. Now your conversion line this time, right, which is your pink line that we were talking about just then, conversion line, which is your pink, has to be below the baseline, which is the blue. So it's very, very simple, as you guys can see, right? And your price action has to be below the baseline, which is the blue, right? Okay, so let's go into let's change it into blue, and let's change this into blue as well. And then let's go ahead and make this a little bit of a pink color for you guys to understand exactly what we're looking at. So let's get rid of the longing criteria and come down to the shorting criteria. So your price action has to be below the Kumo cloud. Okay, so let's look for an example, and then we'll show you guys some examples here as well. Wow. Okay, never mind. I thought Bitcoin was dumping right just then. Okay, let's go down, and let's go here. So I want us to look at a example that's just happened recently. So we could maybe look at this, right? But the Kumo cloud is green, so we wouldn't really use this example, right? But you can use this example, for example. You guys know what I mean, okay? So right here, what do you see? You see the price action drop below the Kumo cloud. What is the Kumo cloud? The Kumo cloud is actually red right here, and we drop through it. We go sideways for a second right here, so it gives you a little bit of a chance. So drop through, what do you see on let me pull this on the other side. Let's get this up. So for shorting, you need your price action, which dropped below the red Kumo cloud. So you need your price action below Kumo cloud, right? And you want your Kinko span line below the Kumo cloud, okay? The Kinko span line has to be below the Kumo cloud, right? So it was actually below the Kumo cloud here, but it was going to the upside. But right here it would, it's actually above the Kumo cloud. So I guess that wouldn't work, right? So you would actually wait on this because the Kumo cloud or the Kinko span line is above. So you would wait for it to be below. So this example wouldn't actually work. So you'd say, okay, screw that. I'm going to wait patiently for my next trade because I'm not an impatient trader. I'm not an impulsive trader. I want to use my brain. I want to use the best possible trade that I can have. So you come over here and you actually get a pretty nice trade most likely. So let's take a look at this, and maybe not. Maybe we have to look at another example, but you see the Kumo cloud drop below the red, let's get it up here again. So the price action must be below the Kumo cloud, okay? The price action is below the Kumo cloud. You have this absolutely huge dump from 6,600, or pretty nice dump, 6,600 to 6,200. Your Kinko span line has to be below the Kumo cloud, right? It's below the Kumo cloud. The yellow Kinko span line is below the Kumo cloud. The Kumo cloud has to be red, and it is red right here. And what's more interesting is that you actually get a drop right here. Back here, you get a drop, right? And the Kumo cloud is already red. And what's interesting here is that, like I said, when you see these big Kumo clouds, it's going to have some support. That's why you're getting caught here, right? You're seeing how we're bouncing in here and we're not dropping. But then we attempt another bounce. The bulls attempt another bounce, but then the Kumo cloud starts to become weaker and weaker, and we drop back through because the Kumo cloud is smaller and weaker now, right? So we drop below it. The Kumo cloud has to be red. The conversion line, which is a pink, has to be below the baseline blue, right? So you would actually not enter your short as soon as we drop below here. Even though the Kumo cloud is red, as you can see, the conversion line, which is pink, is not below the baseline blue yet. So this is not confirmed yet. This is not 100% confirmed. So you would wait for these regions right here. And you're actually moving up, so you're not below the Kumo cloud just yet. So you would wait. And as soon as we drop below the Kumo cloud on this candle right here, you see the baseline you see the conversion line, which is the pink, is already below the baseline blue. So right here, it ticks off, right? And then the price action has to be below the baseline blue. So as soon as this price action drops below the baseline blue, you can put in your short position. So you would actually short at around 6,538. While this price action is moving very, very fast, you would actually short this, right? Because everything ticks off. It looks good, everything ticks off, and you're good to go. Now, what will give you more confirmation? Let's go through this one again because it's a little bit of a confusing one, and you can see there's a lot of things that you need to get right here, right? So the price action has to be below the Kumo cloud, okay? So the price action dropped below it here, but as I said, the conversion line pink wasn't below the baseline blue, so you would wait. So the price action below the Kumo cloud. We got the price action below the Kumo cloud right here. The Kinko span line was below, the Kinko span line, which is a yellow, was below the Kumo cloud. The Kumo cloud has to be red, okay? So it was red right here. And it was actually red back here as well. The conversion line, which is the pink, has to be below the baseline blue. So it actually dropped below right here when they crossed. So that ticks that off as well. The price action has to be below the baseline blue. And it was below the baseline blue right at this area. As you can see, it dropped below at 6,544. Then we had this huge dump to the downside. So let's say you were fast, you knew exactly what you were doing, you put in a short position, 10.9% move to the downside. Absolutely beautiful. Now let's see our other indicators. Our other indicators gave us a sell signal right here. Our vortex gave a cross to the upside, or actually it gave a cross all the way back here, but it was going sideways. So you would never enter when the vortex is going sideways. But then it started to expand. And when did it start to expand? When the price action started to drop below the Kumo cloud is when it started to expand. And then it started to get bigger and bigger, and that was more confirmation for you to actually short this, because on this huge candle right here, you were crossed, you were starting to expand, and it was looking good. You also saw we got another fake out, just like that first long one that we looked at. I'm pretty sure we got a fake out on the money flow index. We went to the upside, gave a green buy signal over here when you saw weakness in the price action, right? And we got trapped, or the bulls got trapped, and the money flow index started to expand right here, and we started going into the red. You also see that this was in the red down here as well. The VWAP crossed to the downside as soon as we got this fake out on the money flow index, and we went down pretty aggressively. Now let's say you didn't actually enter here, you actually waited for more confirmation down here. I don't know why you would, but if you wanted to be really safe, you would wait for it down here, and 8% move to the downside. So you would wait for that candle and move it all the way to the downside once you got that retest, right? Because if you look down here, once you get better at trading, you would also see that there was some resistance here that we bounced off on, and we retested it, or there was some support. You can see this candle tried to get back above this support, but then we dropped below it again, and we came back and retested it on the next candle closure. So this would have told you that since there was resistance here, and now it's since there was resistance here, it turned into support. Now it's resistance again. We may be going down again. So slowly everything will fall into place, guys. If you actually put in the work, if you put in the work to learn these things, things will fall into place. Now let's go ahead and check out the 5 minute. I'll use 2 more examples, one for longing, one for shorting, and then we'll cut this video off because it is getting very, very long. Let me have another sip of this water and then we'll continue. Okay, so we're going to do another longing one. Okay, so we want to long this price action, or we don't want to long this price action. We're not biased to either side. We want to do both long and shorts. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Actually, this is a good short example, I believe. Right here, which is very, very recent, we had this huge dump to the downside just then, right? Or a pretty nice dump on the downside. Now the 5 minute is actually what the 5 and the 15 minutes, I believe, what A11 used to scalp, and that is what I used to scalp with him as well in the past. Okay, so we're on the 5 minute right now. Let's pull it away a little bit here. For your shorting, you want your price action to be below the Kumo cloud, which it is below the Kumo cloud here. Your Kinko span line has to be below the Kumo cloud, which is a yellow right here. Your Kumo cloud has to be red. Okay, so everything's ticked off right now. The price action is below the Kumo cloud. The Kinko span line, the yellow, is below the Kumo cloud. The Kumo cloud has to be red, which it is right here. The conversion line, which is the pink line, has to be below the baseline, which is the blue. So right here, that is when you get your confirmation. Price action is below, and the price action is below, and the conversion line, which is the pink, is below the baseline blue. Your price action has to be below the baseline blue, right? So your price action right here and even here is below the baseline blue. So let's say you entered here, because that is where it confirmed. You entered on this candle and you actually went up about $30. So you were in red for a little bit. You would have had your, let's say, stop loss above the Kumo cloud and taken it to the downside. Let's see how much of a move that was. It was about a 2% move. So a 2% scalp is not bad, guys. If you're using 5 times leverage, that's a 10% move, okay? So what I'm trying to explain in the group, you don't need to aim. If you're a trader, especially if you're a day trader or even a swing trader, you don't need to be aiming for, especially if you're a day trader and a scalper, you don't need to be aiming for 100%, for 50%, for 30%. You can be aiming for 10%, 5%, 1%. And this is how you're going to compound your profits over time and become very, very successful traders. Because the only people that actually become successful in trading and don't get burnt out of the market are people that stay patient, that take their profits, that are happy with the 2%, with the 1%, with the 10%. Okay? And scalping is very hard for me to call, for example, in the group, because scalping is a quick position. You're in, you're out, and that's done. And people don't understand the fact that for scalping, for example, people don't understand the fact that, like, they always want a target, like they want a certain target, right? But you're not going to get that certain target always. I may be out of my scalp when I'm 0.5% up or when I'm 1% up. It's always different. I'm not aiming for like a certain, like if I call a short position, that's why I'm not calling scalps anymore. We used to do it a lot more in the past, but people get the wrong idea. Scalping is completely different, guys. So I hope you guys are understanding what I'm trying to explain here. Now, if you look at your indicators as well, your indicators gave you a sell signal right here, or they crossed up. So the positive or the negative crossed above the positive. The positive is the blue, the negative is the red. And you almost crossed bearish here, but you didn't. It was still confirmed. And you bounced above the one line, right? And down here, you have your money flow index go from green to red. Your VWAP went to the downside as well. And this is on a 5-minute time frame. Everything ticked off here. So let's look for a long position and actually finish this video. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying, and I hope you guys, this may take a few times. You need to watch this a few times, but everything works well with backtesting, okay? Trust me, everything works well with backtesting. Let's go over here. This is when we had our pretty big pump from $6,600 all the way to $7,100, right? Now, nothing would have ticked off here. Why? Or a few things would have ticked off here, but not everything would have ticked off, because you're red. Because if you want to put in a long position, the Kumo cloud has to be green, okay? And it was red here. So you would wait for it to go sideways a little bit. And you also saw that down here, it was very choppy. It was going sideways. So your vortex was telling you not to get in here, not to get in. A lot of fake outs, don't get in. Your Kumo cloud was red, don't get in. So you would wait, right? Now let's go through the criteria here. For your longing, you would want your price action to be above the Kumo cloud, which it is right here. It's even above the Kumo cloud over here, but let's actually, we'll go on because that's the third thing that we've written, right? So your price action above the Kumo cloud. So your price action is above the Kumo cloud here. Your Kinko span line has to be above the Kumo cloud. So it is actually above the Kumo cloud back here. Your Kumo cloud has to be green. Now it's not green over here, so you wait for the price action, as I said, to come over here, then it turns into green. Your conversion line, which is the pink line, has to be above the baseline, which is the blue, right? So even over here, once you get, you see the conversion line, the pink has to be above the baseline blue, right? It actually crosses down here. So you would wait patiently for it to cross back up over here, and you would get in when we're going sideways at $6,677. The price action has to be above the baseline blue. So right here, everything ticks off. Down here, two things don't tick off. Conversion line has to be, the conversion line, which is a pink, has to be above the baseline blue, which is it is not. Well, it is, and then it keeps crossing back, so you would wait. And then your price action has to be above the baseline as well. So that's exactly what you see here. Take it to the upside. You have more confirmation as well with your vortex indicator going from the one line that we have in the middle, crossing above the one line, starting to expand. And then down here, money flow index giving you a fake out into the red, starting to expand in the green. Even the VWAP is going down and up, but your money flow index starting to, or still looking strong. You would take this from about $6,660 all the way up for a 7% gain. How many 7% gains a day do you need to make a living? Once you actually start getting your strategies done, strategies right, once you start getting your mind and your mind process right, how many of these do you need a year or a month or a day? How many of these scalps on these lower time frames do you need to make a living if you're running a big account? If you actually learn and if you actually have the right to run a big account. Not everyone can run a big account, guys. You cannot run a big account just yet. You have to wait. You have to build on these strategies. Then you can run a big account. And hopefully I can teach you guys enough to be able to do your own thing in the future. So that's about it from me. This is going to take a while to render as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope this has helped you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Watch this video twice if you have to. I think that once will be enough. Take a screenshot of these right here. Put them in front of you. Go back and retest and test the price action and see exactly what your findings are. And look at areas like this where you're going sideways. Don't enter when you're going sideways. Wait for everything to confirm. Be very, very patient, just like any other strategy. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and let me know down below in the comment section if you did and if you want more videos like this as well. Obviously this is going to be a private Discord video. And yeah, thank you guys for spending your time with me. Have an absolutely fantastic weekend and day whenever you're watching this, and I will catch you guys in the Discord.